Hi everyone, let me ask you a question. Have you ever tried to explain what you do to your family and friends and gotten a blank look? Or is fear holding you and your online business back right now? Now, if you answered yes to either of those, you're going to love this month's free newsletter. How do you get a copy? Head on over to writecom.com now. And by the way, if you want to make more money with your online business, you are going to love our coffee bean money making idea inside. So head over to Writecom, that's WRITECOME.com, and you'll find the newsletter waiting for you over there. Here, and you are very, very welcome to today's podcast episode from writecom.com. And today's podcast episode is entitled The One Game You'll Never Win. Now, what is the one game that you will never win at? I'll tell you what it is. It's the comparison game. It's the game that we like to judge ourselves against other people. And we find out that we are not thin enough, we're not tall enough, we are not talented enough, we're not making enough money, we haven't got as big a following, and on and on and on it goes. And yet, even though we know we are never going to win that game, we continually do it on a regular basis. So if this is where you are right now, if you are comparing yourself with someone else, if you're just feeling down that everyone else in the world is doing a lot better than you are, keep listening to this podcast episode, because I'm going to give you 3 things you need to keep in mind when it comes to the comparison game. Now, the first thing you need to keep in mind is we don't all start off in the same place. You know, if we had a packet of seeds and we dropped 2 on the ground, one seed could land in a nice freshly dug flower bed. The other one could fall on the ground and it may land on maybe the patio, and you may find that second seed could be blowing around in the wind until it finds maybe a gap between 2 concrete slabs, it finds a bit of soil, and then it grows from there. And so it is with our kind of journey in this life. You know, a lot of us have had a good start. Maybe you're born into great genes. Maybe you're born into a first world country. Maybe you have parents who take care of you, who wanted the best for you, who sent you to school. And then we have other people who maybe didn't have it as well. So when you think about it, what is the point in comparing your life and where you are with someone else who probably could have had a head start on you, who probably was born into genes where they were always going to be a talented writer, or they had supportive parents, or they started with money, or whatever, and maybe comparing where you are with that other person? I'm sure you can see that there's probably not a lot of things in common with you and that other person. So to compare yourself, maybe if you are that little flower growing up between the slabs, comparing where you started and looking over where that other person started, I'm sure you can see that there's not really much point in comparison, because, a lot of us just start off in different lives, and some of us have natural advantages, some of us don't. But should we really look at that and compare ourselves that way? Now, another thing I want you to keep in mind as well too, when it comes to the comparison game, is that a lot of us look up to a person who is only good at one thing. If we look at a celebrity, the reason they are probably a celebrity is probably because they can act. Maybe they are a great singer, maybe they are a great football star or whatever. But when you look at that person, they are probably only famous for one thing. They can kick a football, they can sing a song, or that they can maybe write a book or whatever. But you ever know, sometimes when we find out more about those sports stars and those celebrities, we find out that the rest of their life is just a complete car crash. They may be a secret alcoholic. Maybe they are terrible with money. Maybe they are just a rotten person to be around. They've got no personality. And maybe they are just someone that, that the only thing they have going for them is that one thing. And the rest of their life is just a complete car crash. They're a poor parent and all these different things. And yet we are looking at that person and we are focusing on that one single thing that they are good at. And we are thinking to ourselves, something, that person is better than me. But you yourself could be far better than that person. You might have more talents. You could be more likable. You might have a lot more things going for you than that one person. So maybe it's not wise to put that person on a pedestal if they're only good at one thing. And finally as well too, I want you to, ponder the thought that when it comes to comparison, a lot of us will kind of look forward and look up. Now, what I mean by that is we look at the people who are ahead of us. We look at the people who are better than us. The people who are, have the huge following or have the huge catalogue of books or have this blog that is, visited millions of times. And we look at that person and we compare us to ourselves. But we never think for a moment, maybe I should look backwards and maybe I should look downwards. Now, I don't mean by looking down on someone. I mean looking back at people who probably haven't got as far as you have. People who are just starting off in the business. People who probably haven't taken the courageous steps that you have. Maybe, putting themselves out of their comfort zone or afraid to do those things. And for you maybe to look back at those people or even look back at your own journey. If you compare yourself from where you were maybe 6 months ago or maybe even 12 months ago, I'm sure you will see that, if you have pushed yourself, if you have tried to get out of your comfort zone, you'll probably look back at the younger version of you or the less experienced version of you and you realise how far you've come and how much you have done. So wouldn't it be better maybe to stop focusing on the people who are ahead of you? Because when you think about it, you are never going to catch up with those people. Those people may have a couple of years head start on you. Those people maybe might have a catalogue of books that you'll never ever catch up with. Those people maybe have released a blog or created a website at a sweet spot that just hit the mark and just took off. So for you to compare yourself with those people, it's going to be a waste of your time and you're always going to find that you are going to be lacking compared to those people. So I want you maybe just to turn around a little bit, have a look at the people behind you who are not as far on as you are. And again, the less experienced version of you, and you'll see that you have come a long way. So as I said, when you get into the kind of comparison game, it's a game you're never going to win. Someone is always going to be better looking than you. Someone is always going to be making more money. They'll always have a big following. And even when you do maybe get to the level they are at, you'll still be looking forward and you'll find someone else will be further on than you are, or has a bigger following, or is making more money, or is doing this and doing that. You'll always find somebody is better off than you. So just keep that in mind. When it comes to the comparing, your start and your life could be completely different from someone else. So how can you compare the two? It's like comparing apples and oranges. And again, too, those people maybe are only good at one thing. So why put them on a pedestal if the rest of their life is a complete car crash? And again, too, just give yourself credit for how far you've come, what all you've done so far, and don't be so hard on yourself. Just focus on your own journey, being a better version of yourself tomorrow than the one you are at now. And when it comes to comparison game, that's the only game that you're really going to win at, is being a better version of yourself. Have a lovely day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you'd like more from the Writecome.com podcast, be sure to subscribe now for more tips, tricks, and ideas you can use to make more money from your words. See you in the next episode.